Hold your place, because we're going right back there. Read.
Psalms chapter 83 verse 1.
Read it.
Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
The enemies make a tumult. That means all those that were against the Most High and that were against God's people in the Old Testament have made a tumult. That means an uprising. That means they're making noise. They're talking about something. What is this noise? Read.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Those people who hate the Most High, you notice these other nations deal with idolatry and other gods. Now, because we fell, they have lifted up their head. The East Indians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Asians, all these people are now have lifted up their head in the earth. The Edomites, all of them. I'm talking about their rulership structure. Read.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So all these nations or nationalities or races came together and took crafty counsel against God's people, which means there was a meeting the Israelites was not invited to. They all came together with crafty counsel. How can we continue our rulership and power over these particular people? How can we destroy them and stomp the name of God out of the earth and exalt our gods? So this is what happens in their crafty counsels. How can we conspire against these people and destroy them and make them think it's just a coincidence? Make them think that it's just by chance. This is just how life is. Read.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And it says consulted against thy hidden ones, because they're consulting against the hidden ones of God. How was God's people hid? Through captivity. When they were destroyed out of Israel and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, oppressed by the other nations, and their knowledge was hidden from them. The knowledge of their history was taken from them. So while we were in a hidden state and had no idea who we were, the other nations conspired to keep us in that particular condition. Read.
Verse 4. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of this...
Let me get this real quick. They have said what?
They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
They said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. One moment, let me straighten this out. Read.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. When
it says they have consulted together with one consent, they are all together. They are not separated. They're all complicit in their destruction against the hidden ones. So what happens when the hidden ones start waking up? What happens? All the people who conspired against them from the beginning goes on the defensive now. Oh, it wasn't me. That was the past. That happened a long time ago. And just by default, they go into the defensive when no one is really trying to attack them. We're just trying to reveal the truth so that God's people can wake up and bring forth this kingdom of heaven. We can't change what the nations did. They did what they did. But now the truth is coming out. No one wants to stake claim to history. No one. Oh no, it's just so happened that, religion just happened. It so happened that every religion then popped up in your neighborhood, and that we got Chinese stores and Japanese stores, and that the Jewish people had all this real estate and gave it to the other nations in your neighborhoods. This is all by chance. There was no plan. It was all by chance that we targeted you for all these different religions to keep you destroyed. That's just a coincidence. Read.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are together. And guess what? They don't hide the fact. They're under NATO right now. They're here in the UN right now, all together with one consent. They don't hide it. And who's at the top of it? Edom. At the top, at the pinnacle. He's fervent in his destruction against God's people. That's just the truth. Read.
They are confederate against thee.
When it says they are confederate against thee, they are in league against God's people. Now, is this all the nations all together? No, because they have lied to their people too. Don't forget, Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right? So Israel is in all these different nations I'm mentioning. So these nations who are together know who we are, even in their particular areas. They know who we are in India. They know who we are in Asia. They know who we are in Babylon. They know who we are in Libya, the United States, South America, Europe. They know exactly where we are all over the earth. And see, and that's why these nations get so upset if they find out that their children are dealing with certain people outside of their race. These people must know. Even in India, they go through the same thing. Indians or Asians are not allowed to deal with the black communities which are in India. So these nations know exactly who we are, and they are complicit against the children of Israel. It's the truth, brothers and sisters. Read.
Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom.
Now the Most High is describing who have been against God's people. Number one is Edom. Now, the main Edomite that have taken on this battle against the children of Israel is Esau's son's Eliphaz, son Amalek. Amalek, okay? Later on, Amalek got power in Persia under Agag, an Agagite, which was a king of Amalek that tried to kill us during the time of Esther. So through history, these nations have come against God's people, and Edom have always spearheaded our destruction. And see, and that's why some of these brothers are headstrong against going against white people. But we understand it's not all white people. It's the rulership. It's the power structure. Why? Because a lot of these Edomites who are in power, which are Romans, they're actually going and destroying their own people anyway. Because why? They use their people in numbers to go against us once slavery was abolished. So they were used. And a lot of them have mixed amongst us. In the white races, the 13 families who have kept their blood intermingled amongst each other, interbreeding, are looking to destroy the children of Israel. So if they think that white people have mixed with us, then they're in the same boat with us. They're looking to kill them too. That's what's going on. Read.
And the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites, these are Arabs. They have been complicit. I went over to the Middle East, and I was surprised how many Middle Easterns knew that we were the children of Israel. But they would never tell us. They would come over and set up stores and set up all types of gas stations in our neighborhoods, and they knew exactly who we were the whole time. But they would never tell us. Read.
Of Moab and the Hagarenes.
Moab are the people that are suffering right now on the Gaza Strip, like the Palestinians. They're suffering because why? They were complicit with Edom in the time that Edom was destroying us. When we were fleeing out, they actually cut off the way for us to escape. Now, the Most High got them trapped on the Gaza Strip with nowhere to escape. That's what happens. What goes around comes around. Everyone crying for the Gaza Strip and what's going on with the Palestinians, and no one is crying about the suffering that have been done to us since our fall. Read.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes, read. They're Middle Easterns.
Gebal and Ammon. And Amalek.
And Amalek.